Started as an East Coast vibe, now I'm going worldwide. We got this bitch going crazy. I used to take the Mazda for a drive, now I'm on the 405 like it's fuck you, pay me.
Hi, my name is Heather, aka Stoney Baloney, and this is the Stoney Baloney podcast. If you're expecting anything from this podcast, don't. But if there's one thing you will learn about me, is you never know what Stoney you're gonna get. This is the journey of one spicy, sarcastic entrepreneur who came out of her cannabis closet and has been blazing through life ever since. As a multi-passionate person who has lived from one coast to another, I know there is more to life than just a 9-to-5 grind. I hope to inspire others to try new things no matter how old you are, start doing things you love and turn them into your side hustles, and to simply stop giving a fuck how others want you to live your life. Good morning, everybody. This is Stoney Baloney, and today we are going to do Business 101 with Stoney Baloney. I was supposed to have my counterpart here, and she is unable to attend today. She is hungover, but I do have Scott here, and he said he would help me because I am scared.
I'll jump in and hold your hand.
Thank you. So I do not drink anymore. I mostly smoke. If I go to a bar or a party, I try to stick to smoking. So I actually did stop at the bar with them last night, and I ordered a drink, and I took a little sip of it, and I said, nope, because every time I taste alcohol now, it just reminds me of that gnarly hangover that I'm going to have the next day. It's going to remind me of the anxiety I get from drinking, and sometimes I'm that person that once I start, I don't stop, and then, you know, my whole weekend would be ruined. So I'm very happy that I did not drink last night.
Very nice.
Thank you. I drank I think last year I drank 4 times, which I don't think is bad. Before baby, I would never say I was a drinker, just because I've seen what alcohol can do to people. And also, there was a point of my life, maybe my California days, where I did drink a lot, and I did not like the person that I was. However, I think I drank to wash out the situations that I was in.
Self-medication.
For sure. But now we're on the smoking train, and we've been on it for a long time.
It's a better place to be. I'm 4 years sober, actually. I gave up alcohol in 2019. And just like you, I didn't like who I became afterwards, you know, and I also couldn't stop.
Yeah.
It was like constantly chasing that first initial buzz that goes away after 15 minutes of drinking, and then you never get it back, and you just progressively get worse.
Yep. I did not know that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'd say last year I did really good at not drinking at all. It really was just a handful of times. I've probably drank a few times this year already. But I am glad that I'm to a point in my life where I can count how many times a year, and it's not every week or multiple times a week. I don't think people realize how much better your body feels when you don't drink as well. I think I started looking younger when I stopped drinking. I lost a lot of weight.
Yep.
So I love the no drinking train. I'm glad you're on it with me.
Yeah, it's my family's glad that I'm on it too. It's not like I was abusive or anything like that, but I wasn't my best self, and I didn't make all the right decisions, you know? So.
Same. My drunk alias was Wyatt Wolf Eater. Did you have one?
What was that?
Wyatt Wolf Eater.
Wyatt Wolf Eater.
Yep.
No, I did not have an alias.
He was an angry man that loved Jack Daniels.
Okay.
Wyatt has not come out for a long time.
That's good.
Thank God. But speaking of being fucked up, I did stop today and grab some Vandy's sour green apple chews. Where's the camera?
Right in front of you over the other side. There you go. Woo-hoo. That's the one. Pull it back a little bit because it's focused for your face. So, but yes, Vandy's Steve Vandewall, Cannabis Cum Laude podcast, which is of course recorded right here at Rockbox. Great guy, great business. Love what he's doing.
He had some great advice today. His flour is bomb. I definitely prefer his flour. It's nice that they deliver. And these gummies we were talking earlier, it's kind of like an imaginary line. You'll be really good, and if you just eat a little too much, I feel it ruins the experience. So I don't like to be too fucked up on gummies. However, the hash rosin is a different kind of high than the THC gummies. And you kind of have that, not trippy, maybe trippy, I don't know. You just have to try them. So if you want to try them, reach out to me and I'll tell you how to get a hold of him. But do you know what this guy did?
No.
He told me to meet him at the Zoomtan's parking lot. And I don't know if anyone knows who I am, but I'm a fucking spray tan artist and a goddamn good one. And I'm meeting this guy at the fucking Zoomtan parking lot.
Competition.
So he better come for a spray tan, and now this is on camera, so it's documented. So now he has to. But I actually talked to the girl at Tim Hortons on my way here. She messed up my coffee, but she complimented me twice, so I didn't complain, and it's not bad. I'm just not a iced coffee person. I like hot coffee. But she said she used to be a manager at Maximum Tan, and she does not like spray tans. And I said, well, I have a spray tan. And she goes, that looks really natural. I'm going to look you up. So I held up the Tim Hortons line. She got my website, my Instagram, and I hope the Tim Hortons girls come for a spray tan party.
Are you talking about the Tim Hortons here in Bushnell's Basin, that one right around the corner?
I sure am.
I have... I love them over there, but so I recently got kind of hooked on the grilled farmer's wrap. It's like one of the best breakfast sandwiches ever. I guess it's not a sandwich because it's a wrap, but anyway. And 3 times I went there, and it was 3 different times they didn't have them because they ran out of hash browns. And I was like, how does a breakfast place or a place like Tim Hortons run out of hash browns?
That's interesting because I ordered 2 hash browns and she said she didn't know if they had 2 hash browns, but they did.
Like what's with, is there a shortage, like a global shortage of hash browns or something?
I think places like that are just tough because I catered for Panera for a few years. I catered a couple different stores. And we would run out of shit all the time. We'd have to run to the Brighton location to pick up stuff. And you would think a store like that would cover that flow. But they just get so busy. And some days it's so unpredictable of those rushes. And I think Tim Hortons, because I didn't see any lunch items. So do they cut off their breakfast menu?
I don't know the answer to that. So
they might only carry a certain amount because their hours are limited too.
See, this is what I like about you because you have such an eclectic experience level with all different kinds of things. You were able to address my issue with the lack of hash browns in a logical and, positive way to kind of speak to what's going on at that store.
I'm a boss, Scott.
As opposed to saying, yeah, screw them with the damn hash browns.
Well, rolling into my Business 101 today, I wasn't going to do anything like, take notes wise or I got this from a textbook. I just kind of more wanted to show my experience of how I got started with my own business. And I was in the food business for a long time. That's what I wanted to go to school for. I remember when I was 13 at my grandma's, I made menus. My restaurant was called Flames, which full circle, that's kind of weird, Flames. Like smoking weed and there's flames. I don't know. But I handmade every menu. I had desserts, entrees. I ran like this whole restaurant hotel. So I think I didn't realize it at the time. I thought food was my thing, but I think me just running a business or something is my thing. And there's a lot of people in different, no matter where you work, there's people, they thrive on telling people what to do. So I don't mean it in that kind of way. I mean it in more of like a production way. I like when the flow is good and where people are busting shit out, and you want to hustle and do that no matter what business you're in.
Yeah.
But I did start in culinary school. I went to culinary school in Miami, Florida. And when I was there, I worked at a tanning salon. That's where the spray tanning came in. That was a whole different experience. Miami's like a different country.
Oh, yeah. I'm from South Florida. I worked in Miami for many years. And I always thought it was interesting to find that there were tanning places in, an area that gets so much sun.
I did not know that. You worked in Miami. Actually, you may have told me this.
Yeah, because I knew Johnson and Wales was where you went.
Yes, I went to Johnson and Wales University. So Flanagan's?
What? The restaurant?
Yes.
Big Daddy's?
Flanagan's.
Yeah, Flanagan's was great.
That is one of my favorite places. I used to do prime rib eating contest and rib eating contest there. And they had the best like Hawaiian roll garlic rolls.
Yeah.
And that's how I make my garlic rolls.
Yeah, Flanagan's was, I don't know, did they have more than one? Did they have a couple of them?
Yes, it was green and there was a lot of them. Also, Miami subs was my shit.
Don't even get me going on Miami subs. My wife and I, still to this day, when she goes to Florida, she has to go, even though it's not Miami subs anymore, it's something else.
Stop.
But they still have the same
vibe.
Fries and the same, like I used to get the cheesesteak there. It was so good. Oh my God.
That was the
miss
closest
Miami
thing I
subs.
had to buffalo wings when I lived in Miami was Miami wings. But so I did start off in culinary school. I dabbled in the spray tanning business. It was actually a tanning salon. Hulk Hogan went there. Drew Carey's fiance at the time, she would tan there. There was a famous poker player who had tigers, and you meet all these people. You have these crazy experiences that you would never experience in New York, or I'm sure you can experience it here, but it's a very small area, or maybe New York City, Toronto, maybe a tiny little niche of Buffalo if you're a part of, the teams and whatever. But it was just a different experience, and I kind of flopped around at school. I didn't finish out anything. I kept changing majors. And I feel that's my personality and how I can do all these different things that I do and try and get other people to do those kind of things. When I came back here, I've worked in kitchens till I was 30. I worked at Roarbox, which is a big name around here. I was opening cafes for Core Life Eatery. And it got to a point where being a female in the kitchen, you just didn't make money. There were guys that came in, they couldn't even cook a cheeseburger, and they were getting paid $8 more an hour than me. I was working weekends, 60 hours a week. I was broke. And I think when I got to 30, it was like, I'm not going anywhere in this field. I actually made pretty good money at Panera, but I had to use my own car to do deliveries and basically ran a brand new car into the ground. So I did a little bit of flip-flopping. I worked at a law firm, a payroll company, and I think a vet place. That's how I kind of started getting into taking care of animals a little bit more. Everyone calls me and it pisses me off because I get in these situations where I'm saving turtles or fucking raccoons and then I'm crying about it for 2 fucking weeks. But there's not a lot of people.
You're an empath.
Ugh, I hate it.
And you love animals. There's nothing wrong with that.
I stop for every fucking animal on the side of the road, which 95% of them are dead. But I always stop just to make sure that they're not there suffering. And this is every day of my life. It's a sad existence.
I don't know if it's a sad existence, but I could tell how. I mean, it's got to be frustrating to always answer that call every time. Like, oh, I can't go by. I have to stop.
Well, they know I'm not going to say no,
Right.
and that's what makes me more mad. But someone posted on the community page today, and it pissed me off on my way here. I know they're new into the village. I'm in Churchville. I feel the same people have been living in that town generations. And it's a cute little town. I think the west side of Rochester gets overlooked. Downplayed for sure for how nice it is.
Agreed.
So they recently moved in. They put a lot of money in this old, beautiful house, which is actually part of my history tours. And they posted today about cats being in their yard. And he's going to start, if they keep coming in his yard, he's going to take them to a shelter or something. And I feel or people are just so rude and disrespectful to nature and the other things. And I think that is a big part of what our destruction is and will be someday, is how fucking selfish people are. And I know people don't think of a hamster having feelings, but they do tricks. They get excited when they see you. These little creatures and mice and stuff, like people who take animals like raccoons and they just throw them in the woods somewhere. They think they're doing them a favor. You're literally taking something out of its safe spot. Who knows if it had a family and shit, and you're just throwing it somewhere. So I said something smart on the page, and I have a business in town, so I try not to even comment on the page. I only do the small business Saturdays, but I made a fucking comment today and having like a little bit of anxiety about it because I'm like, great. I can only imagine what these people are saying on my shit, but I hit it.
Yeah, that's the tough thing with social media and being a business owner. It's a really thin line. You know, there's some things you get passionate about, like animals or any kind of thing. You get on there and you want to put somebody in their place, but then you realize, is it worth it? Are we going to start this big argument and then it's going to look bad, you know, for my business or whatever? I can't. That's one of the things I can't stand about social media. I completely stopped commenting on anything that was really divisive, any kind of political stuff or social issues, for the most part. Sometimes I can't help myself, but you know.
See, I'm like a cherry bomb. I won't say anything for a while, and then I get really pissed off about something. But I feel that at that point, there's usually 10 different situations happening at my life that kind of go around that one lesson to be learned. So it's like I just got to put it out there in the universe because I know that there's more stupid people that need to hear it as well. And then I feel like I have my fix for at least like 15 days.
So let's get back to the business topic. What were we going to go and talk about for Business 101?
So my point of all the different jobs that I kind of had when I was trying to get out of the food business is I didn't know where to go. I've known food this whole time. I have had all these different jobs, but I just wasn't happy. No matter where I worked, I felt like I wasn't getting paid what I deserved. I was always working hard. I've always been a hard worker. I've always had more than one job at a time. So I went to the construction company that I'm working at now, and I got laid off. And New York State offers something where if you are on unemployment, they'll help you build a business. You get like $250 a week or something, which is better than nothing. And I was looking for jobs and I couldn't find any. I was starting to get stuck. I had a baby. My husband has been the most supportive person ever because if he knows if I'm unhappy at a job, I'm going to quit. I don't care. It's going to be rough, but we'll figure it out. We're human. We have feelings. We have lives. And it's not fair that these places that we work expect us to make those places our lives. We don't get paid 24/7. So that shouldn't consume our lives. So I decided I had $300 in my pocket. I asked my mom if she could help me buy a spray tanning machine. I've had the idea of having a spray tanning business in the back of my head for the last few years at this point. Then I was going to do it, and then I got pregnant, so that kind of went on the back burner. And then when I got laid off, I was like, I'm just going to fucking do it. Within a month, I was renting out of a studio. I was doing spray tans in my kitchen. I went to a hair salon. I rented for a few months, and then COVID hit. So now I'm a new business owner in COVID where I have to have personal contact with people, and I can't do that. So now what am I going to do? I basically started just selling products. I started making logos for spray tan artists. That's when I started coming up with the idea about Tannabis Cannabis, which is my ebook. And it's just everything kind of fell in place. And I feel people think that they can't start a business because they don't have money. So my business 101 today is if you want to open a business, you don't have to have the money. You just have to have the drive to do it. You have to know it's not going to be overnight. Sometimes it does happen overnight. I feel in the food business, that's very easy to happen overnight. But there's never going to be a right time. And I think for a lot of things in life, we're always waiting for the right time. And that's when we lose out on these different experiences. Who cares if you start it and it fails? At least you fucking tried. I actually tried opening a photography business first, but I did not like taking pictures of people. It was just too awkward for me. So now I take pictures on my spare time, and people have reached out to me to pay me to do posters or, framed pictures for their offices of, I take a lot of nature pictures. Bald eagles are my thing. Sunsets. I've won a couple contests for my sunset pictures. So, there's another thing. I enjoy doing it. Most people do the traditional route of taking wedding pictures, taking graduation, stuff like that. And I found a way to do it where I'm having fun, but I could still profit off of it.
Yeah, that's important, is to take what what you want to do, but how every job that you have, even if you love the job, there's always that one thing that you don't like to do that comes with that job that you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. So it's pretty cool that you were able to pretty much re-engineer this photography business to be exactly how you wanted it. No, I'm not going to do weddings. No, I'm not going to do portraits. I'm not going to, go take pictures of babies and stuff like that. I'm going to do my nature photography because that's my thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love it. And that's I think when Linda was here last week, we kind of talked about how I'm very independent, and I have to have my alone time. I feel bad because I do work so much, and then I come home at night and I miss my husband, I miss my kid, but sometimes I need my alone time more. And I think a lot of people need their alone time more, but there are a lot of people out there that put that aside. And stop if you are. Everybody needs alone time to function. And that's what I do. I freaking smoke weed and I take pictures of birds. It's a good life. It's a good life. And listen to music. Music is huge. And that's another thing. I'm not a good singer or a good musician. I've always wanted to be good at. I've tried playing. I have a bass. I have a piano. I'll do it for fun, or I'll get high and I'll bust it out with my son. But I was a backup singer for my friend's CD that he made at the Google Dow studio in Buffalo. And that's just such a cool experience. I love being in studios. I'm obsessed with music, but I've never known how to incorporate music into my life because I'm not musically talented. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of another way photography came into play, because I could take pictures of bands. My friend's in a band, Sirens and Sailors, and he let me take pictures at his show one time, and I was so excited. This is the Wyatt Wolf Dieter days, and I drank so much fucking Jack. I was just hammered. I had no idea, like, what was going on, and I kicked myself in the ass because I was like, that could have been a good opportunity for me. And that's another reason why I don't like drinking.
Yep.
No matter how high I get, my eyes don't get red, and I don't act like Wyatt Wolf Dieter. But my eyes do get glossy. There's people, if you get high, are your eyes red or are they glossy?
A little bit of both. Not so much red, but definitely glossy. My wife can tell immediately if I'm high, just by looking at my eyes.
Yes, I feel like my eyes are barely open half the time, but I do get glossy mossy, I call it. Glossy mossy. So, toxic work environments is another big one, and I feel people who are in, I know lots of people, someone who, she works for a very huge company, probably makes a butt ton of money, and she has a side hustle that she's doing bakery goods, and she's fantastic. She could probably make way more than that corporate job, but people get cushioned. And when I came back into the place I'm working at now full time, I didn't want to be in the office. It was just kind of a side gig that I could do from home. And then an opportunity popped up, and I was just going to do reception, and I was like, well, I could do my website while I'm sitting there and all this stuff, and nope. I just got to keep fucking working. And I think that's hard being a business owner working somewhere else, because you see all the things that aren't working, and you see all the things as a business owner that you would never want to happen. And especially if it's a company that you care for and someone you work for that you care for and you want to do good for, it's hard not having the control to change those things.
Yeah.
And I think that makes working there more stressful than owning 20 businesses yourself, because it's not in your control.
100%.
I hate it. I yell at everybody all day. I just fucking yell. Linda, I went upstairs yesterday. I was in a mood. I was tired. I was dealing with a lot of not happy people. And I just felt like I was, also doing things that other people should be doing. So I just went upstairs and I fucking yelled. And I said, other people can start doing their own fucking jobs. I'm going to fucking breakfast. I did not go to breakfast because I didn't have my fucking car. So I was so mad that I yelled and made a statement, and then my fucking car. I didn't have my car. So then I went and smoked 2 pineapple bongs, and the rest of the day went A-okay. And that's another thing. I feel people don't want to talk about this, and I feel there's women that don't want to talk about this because they think people are going to think of them as a certain way, or say they're just using that they're a woman as an excuse. But there is a difference in the workplace, probably anywhere that I have worked at, where you do see men making way more money and they are doing less, or they're not as skilled. And that is also very frustrating when you do work for different people. In the culinary world, it was definitely the worst. And I think working for other people as well, you see bad people that are not good for a company. And if you work somewhere that you don't have control of, I ended up leaving Panera because I didn't like who they hired for the GM. He was not good. He was an asshole. He literally smoked like 70 cigarettes a day, which I guess we know a lot of people like that, but it was just different because you're in a restaurant, you're touching food, you're talking to people, and you just reek of smoke. It's different if you're working outside or you have like a garage or whatever. A lot of people smoke where we are, but you're not touching food and shit. I don't know. I just think that's gross.
Yeah, I agree. The gender wage gap, I just looked it up, and it said that in 2022, women earned an average of 82% of what men earned. So that's huge.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't stick up for themselves, especially women. Like, one thing that I also see in the workplace is if a woman comes to you with problems, it's drama. But when the guys do it, it's okay. Like, you're not like you're cool, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, it's also when if a female is a manager, right? They're considered bitchy, or as opposed to when the guy is like that, oh, he's strict, he's a tough leader, he's a tough guy. But if it's a woman, it's she's a bitch, and she's, you know what I mean? I'm not using the right words, but that's kind of the idea.
Oh, I could be a bitch. I could definitely be a bitch, but I know what you mean. And there's a lot of people that are unhappy and they just never have a fulfilled life because they devote all this time in their life, 20 years, 25 years, to places where they are not happy because there's this stereotype that you're supposed to work a 9-to-5 job and get the 401k and all that other shit. Like, what happens if you put your whole life aside for that 401k and then something happens and you don't get that money in 30 years? Now what?
Yeah.
Bitches. And that is a good time to start a business and look at those hobbies that you have and turn it into a side hustle, is when you're hopping from workplace to workplace to workplace because you're unhappy. So when you're sitting there chilling at night, what do you like to do that you can make money on? You can even make money cans and bottle business. Save up for a few months. There's so much that people can do.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is what you said earlier, which is there's never going to be a right time. There's always going to be an excuse to why you can't do it, and just like you did, you just have to do it. You just have to decide, I'm doing this, and do as much as you can.
I do a lot.
We made a movie. I made a movie in 2019 and 2020 called Bottom Feeders, which you can see on Amazon Prime Video.
I'm going to check it out.
It's a comedy. It's not the best movie in the world, but my friend and I decided we wanted to make a movie before we got too old and couldn't make a movie, and then we were just, pissed off at the world because we couldn't make a movie, so we just said, we're making a movie.
Fuck yeah.
And it's self-funded. We did it for $75,000, which we raised all that money ourselves.
Holy shit.
And that's not that's a cheap movie. But the point was, we just acted like we had the money. We acted like we had everything together, and we scheduled, it's a little bit reckless, but we scheduled the times we were going to shoot. We booked people, and the money it happened. We figured out ways because we had a deadline. We had to do it.
And you have to do that because how do you know what's going to work and what's not if you don't at least try? You learn from that. The next time you do it, maybe you'll spend $20,000.
Yeah. Next time, fail better.
Yes,
Fail
absolutely.
better.
And you have to fail. You have to learn from your mistakes. I'm one of those people, I tell everyone when I fuck up. I don't know who it's going to affect, but I'm letting everybody know I fucked up. Let's get over it and move on. I'm fixing it. But you have to go through those things. And like I said, I tried opening the photography business. I was doing private chef things for a little bit before COVID, and then I lost my taste buds. It took me a year and a half to get 80% of them back. It's still not all there like Coke. I think the carbonation makes things taste weird. And I used to be obsessed with Coca-Cola, so that's crazy. Had to add the cola at the end of that. It is the Stoney Baloney podcast. But I wanted to start doing those again, and I have a lot of clients through all my different ventures, and I've been trying to find a kitchen that I could rent and do little pop-ups, because I did some pop-ups in COVID, and I made so much money, but I went to school for this shit. Eventually, someday, I want my little sandwich shop or whatever I decide to do. And I asked someone who has been in the business for a while, and she's one of my clients for something, and I was like, I want to start renting and doing pop-ups. And she said, well, the culinary community is small in Rochester, and there's already enough people doing that stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I went to school for this shit. You know how much student loan debt I have? And I went to an amazing school. So just because I'm doing, whatever I'm doing now, I deserve to be able to be in that industry and come up with those people. And I have noticed in Rochester, it is tight with businesses. It seems like it's very cliquey.
Yeah.
Like, they have their clique if they're not in it, But there's a new bitch in town, and her name is Stoney Baloney. So you better move on over. There's an entitlement, though, that new business owners have. And I get where they're coming from. All those things we talked about today, where you went through all these shitty things. But I feel a lot of small business owners pick and choose who their clients are going to be now. I never turn down anybody for a spray tan. It's my business. Like, every customer's treated equally. No project is more important than another one. I don't care if it's a $50,000 job or a $5 job. It's still my work, and it still reflects who I am as a person. And it's funny to see, once you get, more and more known, people all of a sudden have like an interest. It's like, well, when I was nothing, you didn't give a fuck. But now that my business is popping, you care. So I just noticed Rochester is like that, very cliquey, and I hope that changes. Because I have met a lot of really cool business owners out there, and there's a lot of them I would love to do collabs with. And that's an important thing when you are starting a business, is you have to have those collabs, go network. There's lots of free events that people will host. I've gone to a few rooftop parties, Rock Girl Gang. That was great. I'm bummed that she retired that. I'm sure there's some other ones that are probably similar that I may not know about, so reach out to me. But marketing and meeting people like that, it's cool, it's fun, and it helps your business grow. And I think something like, I want to do cannabis. I don't have the money to invest in a flower store. But at the same time, it's a big part of my life. How can I not make money off of it if I'm telling other people to make money off of your hobbies? Smoking weed's a fucking hobby. So I'll have a Stoney Baloney podcast, and I get to smoke weed for free and shit. So, and meet cool people, but also I get to meet people and introduce them to my shade business, and I can introduce them to, this and that. And I think once you start a business, you should keep going. because you never know in 10 years if this one is going to survive with what happens in the world or what happens in the market. But you always have that other income coming in. But you have income that's not, you're not relying on someone else. And I think that's a big lesson I've learned having my own business versus working for other people. I never want to feel that I have to depend on that place just in case I am unhappy and I do want to leave.
Yeah, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My father was a general contractor in Florida. My brother is a general contractor in Florida. My other brother's a painting contractor. All my uncles were painters and landscapers and stuff. So that's my background. And it took me a long time to actually get out on my own and have my own business. I freelanced for years, doing video and shooting weddings and things like that I didn't like to do.
Yeah.
But it was part of like, all right, we got to make money the best way we can, as much as we can. Wife and 3 kids, and it wasn't fair to make her, be my sugar mama. So, but it took a long time. It took a long time, and it took a lot of trial and error with different things, and just I kind of happened to find something that worked. And I also, to go back to your networking thing, I met the right group of people that were sort of my mastermind group, people that I could ask questions of, that I could get advice from to help me along the way. And I think it's important. It is a little bit cliquey in Rochester, but I think it's also small enough that you can create your own clique. You can actually get people to branch out from those cliques.
Yeah.
And you can get in there. And if anyone can do it, you can, based on your history. I mean, you're like, oh, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it. And then you do.
People think I'm nuts, but I'm having a good time. Might be nuts. I appreciate that. I do plan on having a Stoney Baloney retreat. During COVID, I had this extra time, and I decided to become a yoga teacher. So I am doing Stoney Baloney yoga classes. I was taking a break from yoga for a little bit, teaching-wise, just because I'm trying to find the right vibe in yoga, because yoga is new to me, and I just haven't. There's traditional yoga where they're all namaste and kind of awkward, and I feel that's why a lot of people don't try yoga, because they think it is something that it's actually not. That's a very small part of it. So I've been trying to find my vibe with that, but it would be really dope to do a Stoney Baloney retreat and just have like a weekend of, pampered services, yoga, fresh air, put the phones away. I have this conspiracy theory that it usually happens when I'm really high. That we're going to lose electricity soon. Like something's going to happen, a plant.
Oh my God, that is so weird that you're saying that. I literally was thinking that exact same thing on the ride over here today.
That's fucking weird.
I was like, for some reason, it popped into my head. What happens if there's an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, and it turns everything off?
Can you imagine?
Why did I think that? Why did I think that? And then you're bringing it up now. That's
so It's funny you say that, because I see ghosts, like I do the ghost tours. I've seen ghosts. I've had experiences. I'm very intuitive. I believe I do have some kind of knowledge, possibly, if I'm just like, I'm either crazy or it's fucking there. A little bit of both, maybe. But I have not been able to find how I'm intuitive. And the other day I was like, okay, I've noticed a lot lately. People will bring something fucking random up that I was literally just thinking in my head not even a minute before. And it's been happening a lot, and it's fucking weird because it's just something random as shit. And then someone says it, and it's happened a lot lately. And I'm like, maybe that's that intuitiveness that I never realize.
It's also proof that we're all connected. On a, I don't want to get too metaphysical because it's way out of my wheelhouse, but I've heard about that. The subatomic level, when you're getting down into the metaphysics, we're all connected. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are out in the ether. We're all connected by some higher intelligence of something. And I probably sound like an idiot right now for those people who actually know what that is, and know about that stuff. But
I don't think anyone knows shit.
You're probably right. But that's true. People, it happens all the time. People are thinking things, and then someone says, oh, hey, what about this? And you're like, I was just thinking that. Because there's something that we can't see. There's another dimension or something that we're connected in.
It's fucked up. And I can't wait for our spiritual ghost episodes because there's going to be like 50 of them. That's probably where my true calling is in podcasting, honestly, is the fucking ghost shit. But I know I'm running out of time here, so just kind of wrapping up the business 101. A few things I suggest if you are going to have a business and you're starting. One mistake a lot of business people make in the beginning is giving too many discounts. I wish I stopped giving discounts a lot sooner than I did, and that is something that nobody told me. Now, you have to, obviously, you're brand new, so people, they're not going to pay X amount because in their eyes, you're not an expert. You just started. However, a lot of people don't understand how expensive products are. Like, one bottle of solution, sometimes I'll pay almost $200 to get it shipped. That's a lot of money for one bottle of solution.
Yeah.
And I have people who have reached out and asked for discounts or say, well, I come all the time. I have packages, and my packages are priced how they are for a reason. But don't tell me you can't afford a $50 spray tan when you just dropped $300 on your hair, $120 on your fucking nails, and all this other stuff. Like, if those people are worthy of their shit, so am I. And I just wish I stopped giving discounts because I feel most of those customers, I have a really good turnaround. I don't know what it is specifically, but I would say 92% of my spray tans come back. I think that's a high number. If it's not, a lot, it's at least once a year or something.
I mean, how often do people get spray tans? Like, how long does it last? Like, when do they come and get touched up, or how does that work?
I feel it depends on how much you want to invest in it. I think a lot of people who are not used to getting spray tans think, it's a pain in the ass. You got to keep going. To keep a spray tan going, I would say 1 to 2 spray tans a month, and then just at-home products in between. And the damage that laying in the sun can do every day, going to tanning beds, people don't realize it takes one visit in a tanning bed to get fucking melanoma. And I have so many freckles. I used to bask out in the yard with the Pam cooking spray in high school when it was 60 degrees outside. And I can probably pay for it. But it's crazy. People, they fascinate on the being tan part, and they don't notice that their skin's already looking old when they're 40 years old. Like, 40 isn't old.
Thank you.
It's not old. I still feel that there's I feel like I just graduated high school still sometimes. It's just doesn't feel that long away, even though it was.
I know what you mean. I'm 50 and I still feel like I'm, in my 20s.
And my grandpa, he is in his 80s. I may have mentioned this last time, but teaches taekwondo, tai chi, karate, plays basketball. He took a picture at Watkins Glen, but that's where I get my photography from. He has a basement just full of books. It's a library, every subject. I recently asked him for his Playboy collection, and I first asked him by text. He said he didn't respond. So I was like, okay, well, is he uncomfortable? And then when I saw him, I was kind of high, and I had the balls to ask him, and I asked him for those Playboy magazines, and he said that they were too erotic for my generation. So I don't...
Playboy was one of the least erotic of those magazines, especially in the early what are we talking about, 70s, 80s?
I feel like it's
50s,
that whole
60s?
70s to 90s time. I would be guessing that's what he has.
I don't know. Playboy was always the one that was like, yeah, that's okay, but if you wanted the really good stuff, you got Hustler and Penthouse, and
that's what I'm saying. So he was trying to show. So then my grandpa starts looking up Sports Illustrated fucking magazine covers, because I wanted to frame them and hang them at shade and just have a wall of Playboys, like vintage Playboys. How dope. So
that's nice.
I got to work on my grandpa for that, but price your worth. Even if you're just starting off, put in the investment in yourself. You're not going to make money if you're paying everybody for your services. And if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. But I think I'll wrap it today. I think I'll stop fucking talking.
All right, stop fucking talking.
I'm gonna. Thank you for joining me, Linda. Don't let this happen again.
What's the name of your old drunken former self?
Wyatt Wolfeater.
Wyatt Wolfeater. We got to tell Linda not to go all Wyatt Wolfeater again.
Well, she's probably, we're gonna come up with a name for her next time. But what episode do you think we should do next time? Should we do a cannabis one, a cannabis based, or should we do some ghost stuff?
I really like the ghost idea. I think that's unique. I want to hear more ghost stories.
All right, we're gonna do a ghost episode next time. And thanks for joining me today, Scott. I hope everybody gets stoned as shit this weekend. Peace out.